The Theory of Corporate Mind. Uncover 12 hidden psychological biases at your workplace, control perspectives, and achieve career success. By Prateek Tandon, narrated by Alistair.
Theory of Mind, Tom. The human mind is both the greatest weapon and the deadliest trap. Robert Greene. 1. In 1986, the US and the Soviet Union were on the verge of a historic agreement that would eliminate nuclear weapons in their entirety from the face of the earth. When Reagan and Gorbachev met in Iceland in October that year, Reagan suggested that both superpowers agree to phasing out nuclear weapons altogether, to which Gorbachev replied, "We can do that. We can eliminate them." Leading to a positive discussion thereon, both countries chalked out the details and agreed to all the conditions required to completely phase out their nuclear arsenal. But the talks then stalled on the US's Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, famously called the Star Wars program, a space-based missile defense system under works. Reagan believed that SDI was essential even in a non-nuclear world, and that the US should be allowed to test it in outer space. The provisional agreements were already drafted, and the discussion was in its last stage in the presence of Reagan, Gorbachev, and the entire diplomatic leadership from both the superpowers at a hotel suite in Reykjavik, Iceland. But Reagan decided to end the stalemate around SDI by abruptly walking out of the meeting. He was frustrated that the Soviets were not budging from their demand of confiding the SDI program to a laboratory rather than outer space for the next 10 years. The world that day lost an extraordinary opportunity to get rid of nuclear weapons altogether. After a decade, one of the famous US diplomats, Henry Kissinger, tried revisiting this incident during a discussion with a retired Soviet official, who was also an eyewitness to the entire episode. 1. Kissinger probed as to why were the Soviets so adamant about shelving the SDI program, rather than proposing to separate it from other agreements and follow up on it at a later stage. It was then revealed that the Soviets were not exactly against the SDI program, but rather, they had no experts in the room guiding them on outer space nuclear strategies. Moreover, they also did not gauge the seriousness and importance that Reagan gave to this program. Surprisingly, a case of perceived Soviet non-cooperation turned out to be a classic case of false perception. If only Reagan had the patience that day to understand the perspective behind Soviet conditions, and if only the Soviets attempted to understand Reagan's perspective better, humanity could have taken a historic step towards a world free from nuclear weapons.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?